Welcome to the Drivers Cooperative. This is the first of 4 training modules that will help you make informed decisions as you lead the Drivers Cooperative. It will help you understand what exactly the Drivers Cooperative is, how it works, and a little bit about the industry. This training module specifically will do 2 main things. First, it will review the platform model and explain why so many global rideshare companies grew so quickly as a result of this business model. Then it will explain the many issues that workers have with global rideshare business models based on the conversations that we have had with rideshare drivers throughout the last few years. Let's hit the road. So the first question is, what is the business model of rideshare companies? Global rideshare companies have stood out among other businesses for their use of technology. They grew so quickly because of their use of algorithms on platforms, which match drivers with their passengers, find the quickest routes between point A and point B, and adjust prices in real time, such as price surging when demand is high. These global rideshare companies also use independent contractors rather than hire traditional employees. They use independent contractors because the drivers are not paid a wage or given traditional benefits such as healthcare. Instead, the drivers are allowed to take a slice of each ride fare. Companies advertise this to their workers as giving them flexibility and freedom. But note that these workers are also not entitled to basic employee rights. So who benefits from independent contracting? Well, it's obviously good for these global rideshare companies for a few reasons. First, because it saves money when these companies don't have to pay for employee expenses, such as wages, or other expenses, including gas and car repairs. Instead, those expenses fall on the workers. These companies also can terminate their drivers without warning or justification. This is a really common problem that we've seen as we've spoken with drivers. These rideshare companies often also take the sides of their customers rather than drivers when in disputes. This is bad for workers because contractors are often underpaid. Studies have shown that after expenses like gas and maintenance are taken into account, many drivers are actually paid less than a minimum wage. And without employee rights, contractors can be terminated with no explanation and no accountability. And finally, contractors are not supported during disputes with customers. Instead, the platforms often take the side of the riders. This is why 96% of rideshare drivers quit within a year of joining. Many drivers are searching for alternatives because of this. In New York, for example, the Drivers Cooperative launched with 2,500 drivers ready to go. This is because many drivers are fed up with traditional rideshare models and want to drive for a company that cares about them. The Drivers Cooperative wants to bring that same opportunity that drivers have in New York to Colorado. So, in summary, first, technology and the use of independent contractors helped global rideshare companies grow rapidly. Second, drivers are underpaid and poorly treated by these companies, so many are seeking alternatives. And finally, the Drivers Cooperative has been established in New York City and is expanding into Colorado and other cities. Congratulations on taking the wheel by taking your first steps toward employee ownership. Let's make sure you're up to speed with a comprehension question. The use of independent contractors instead of employees saves money for global rideshare companies, forces drivers to pay for their own expenses, fuel, repairs, cleaning. C, leads to drivers being underpaid. D, all of the above. Answer D, all of the above. Welcome to the Drivers Cooperative. This is the second training module where you learn about cooperatives, worker ownership, and business leadership. We will introduce you to the inner workings of the Drivers Cooperative and let you take your first steps towards employee ownership. Let's hit the road. This module will cover a few questions like what is a cooperative and what are the benefits of a cooperative to workers, businesses, and the local economy. First, what is a cooperative? Simply defined, a worker cooperative is unlike most companies in many ways, but the most defining feature of a cooperative is that a majority, i.e., more than half of the company, is owned by workers rather than outside investors. This helps ensure that workers are treated well, paid fairly, have power and decision-making in the workplace. Other successful cooperatives apart from the Drivers Cooperative have attracted a lot of attention. One of the largest worker cooperatives in the United States, CHCA, Cooperative Home Care Association, has thousands of worker owners. A growing number of service sectors like restaurants are becoming worker owned. More growing cooperative development organizations are emerging in the United States, such as RMEOC. What are the benefits of the cooperative model for workers? It's pretty clear. Higher median incomes for workers, specifically 33% higher on average, and there's lower risk of losing your job. Your voice is heard by company leadership because you are the company leadership and you help select other company leaders. And you also are more likely to have better working conditions because you help make decisions. For the company, it means more passionate workers, which means greater productivity. 90% of worker co-ops also stay in business after 5 years versus 20% of other kinds of businesses that are not owned by employees. There are also considerable tax benefits for the business. For the economy, it means reducing the wealth gap. It keeps wealth in the local economy, benefits disadvantaged communities, and creates quality employment opportunities for those seeking leadership roles. Employee ownership is a tested and effective way to build a business. In many cases, we see 8.5% higher profit margins in employee-owned companies compared to other conventional businesses. 5% faster growth per year for sales and employment. Only 5% faster growth of employee businesses than traditional companies, and 90% of worker co-ops are still in business after 5 years compared to just 1/5 of traditional companies. In summary, a cooperative is a for-profit business with a majority owned by the workers or the employees. We will add to this definition in upcoming training modules, but this is the basic definition. We will add to this definition. Second, many nonprofit organizations, such as the Rocky Mountain Employee Ownership Center, have worked to launch worker-owned businesses and transform traditional companies into cooperatives in many different industries. And finally, worker cooperatives benefit the business itself, workers that are involved, and the local economy. Congratulations on taking the wheel by taking your first steps toward employee ownership. Let's make sure you're up to speed with a couple comprehension questions. True or false? A successful business requires authoritarian hierarchy. False. In fact, cooperatives are often more profitable than traditional companies because worker ownership encourages accountability and idea sharing by engaging all workers. True or false? A cooperative is a type of business that seeks profit, although it is owned by workers. True. A cooperative is owned by workers, but it seeks to make a profit and grow just like other businesses. Welcome to the third training module for the Drivers Cooperative. This module answers a really important question. How is the Drivers Cooperative governed? If you've been paying attention to the first two modules, you've heard me talk a lot about decision-making power and how employees and worker-owned companies share power. Now we're going to talk about what that really means. So, a quick overview of this module. This training will do 3 things. First, it'll explain the term governance, specifically how it's different from management. Then it will provide an overview of the model used by the Drivers Cooperative and unpack the inner workings of the cooperative. And finally, it will highlight the role of drivers. But first, why is this important for worker owners like yourself to understand governance? Well, first, to be an active participant in the cooperative, drivers have to be able to make informed decisions. Second, knowing the inner workings of the Drivers Cooperative will help you contribute your perspective as an owner. And finally, the success of the company in part depends on drivers being engaged in the business side of the cooperative and owners making good decisions. So let's hit the road. What is governance? A brief definition would say that it's the systems, rules, and processes by which a business is directed and controlled. Let's break that down into 3 different areas. First is systems. Who makes decisions and how are our finances managed? Second is rules. How does the cooperative ensure accountability, fairness, and efficiency for all? And third, processes. How are leaders chosen? How are finances distributed? Let's clarify the difference between governance and management because they're not the same thing. Governance refers to the decisions that are made by owners to protect and use its resources. And finally, it also sets the big picture direction of the company, including the purpose of the company and its values that drive decisions. Management, on the other hand, takes steps to achieve the goals that are set by the board of directors, decides how to allocate resources in order to achieve these goals, moves the company forward through day-to-day operations. So how is the Drivers Cooperative governed? Each worker gets one share after completing training and submitting the entrance fee. That share is non-transferable, meaning you can't give it to someone else in your name, and does not change value over time, meaning the value or worth of that share does not increase or decrease based on circumstances. Second, the share entitles the shareholder to one vote in the cooperative, an equitable share of end of the year profits, and a share of each ride. Democratic governance in the Drivers Cooperative is composed of three different main pieces. First is the board of directors, which represents members, oversees management, and some growing co-ops are constructed of a hybrid model, which includes a co-op, incubation, nonprofit organization, and community representatives. Second, management, which is participatory, directs the day-to-day operations of the Drivers Cooperative and advances the board's goals. And finally, worker owners who elect board members and can be elected to the board themselves will also vote on some major decisions. If you're a visual learner, check out this chart to the right of your screen. It's a circle of accountability. Employee owners are at the top and the bottom of the hierarchy because they help make important decisions and elect board members. The point of this model is that everyone is accountable to someone. So what rights do worker owners have? Well, you first have the right to participate in the decision-making process. Second, you have the right to vote on a one-member, one-vote basis. Third, you have the right to share in the profits as a worker owner who contributes to those profits. And finally, you have the right to information such as company bylaws, financial information, and other important documents. But with great power comes great responsibility. Worker owners also have responsibilities like working at the co-op and contributing to the business. To speak up and bring your best self to the table, which means being a trustworthy person and being honest as well. Second, balance your personal interests with the collective interests of the cooperative, meaning be a team player. Third, invest in the cooperative and share in the profits as well as the losses. And finally, be humble and accept that there's always more to learn and that you can always grow in your leadership skills through cooperative education. What are some common misconceptions by worker owners? First, I can't be fired. Second, I need to be consulted on every decision. And finally, new members need to reach a certain level of skill before becoming a member. All of these are false. In summary, Module 3 covered a few key ideas. First, governance is a term that refers to the system's rules and processes that are used by business leaders to direct a company's goals and values. Second, the Drivers Cooperative rewards worker owners for their contributions to the company by giving them power to elect board members and the power to vote on certain decisions and access key information. And finally, worker owners have rights as well as responsibilities. Their role is to serve the interests of the cooperative through participation, work investment, and by contributing to a healthy work culture. Congratulations on taking the wheel by taking your first step toward employee ownership. Let's make sure you're up to speed with a couple comprehension questions. Does the board of directors only consist of driver members? No, the majority are driver members and some can be community members. Do drivers make all the decisions in the co-op? No. Managers make decisions on a daily basis. If every decision had to be voted on, the co-op would be inefficient and slow. Congratulations on making it to the fourth and final training module for the Drivers Cooperative. This training module will explore cooperative finance and personal income. In short, this training module will do two major things. First, explore funding sources for cooperatives like ours. And second, provide details on how fares and bonuses are determined to help you plan financially. Why is it important for workers to understand finance well? First, to be an active participant in the cooperative, drivers have to be able to make informed decisions. And second, knowing the financial inner workings of the Drivers Cooperative will help you make better decisions, giving you more autonomy. And finally, knowing how bonuses and fares work will help you plan financially and also give you information on how to maximize your bonus at the end of the year. So let's hit the road. How do cooperatives fund themselves? Cooperatives can fund themselves through two different means. First is through equity, which means investments that are made from inside or outside the cooperative, or profits that are invested at the end of the year to keep the co-op cruising. And secondly is debt. These include loans that require repayment and are counted as debt. It's worth noting that interest payments on these loans are tax deductible. Why do cooperatives like ours charge a membership fee? Remember that I told you that equity includes investments that come from inside and outside the company. But just like in any business, ownership and cooperatives equals investments. That's why drivers must pay a membership fee in order to become a worker owner. Those fees go directly to the cooperative's expenses, such as wages for employees, paying for technology, and also advertising. These are all essential parts of growing the cooperative and fulfilling our financial obligations to our workers and investors. In summary, this module did three things. First, understanding the cooperative finance structure helps worker owners make good judgments when it comes to making business decisions and planning their personal finances. Second, to finance a cooperative, members must pitch in so that the company can grow. And finally, patronage dividends are determined by the number of hours worked by each member and all members.